Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my weekly deck reviews. I have things to say this week. I have so much to say. I feel like I've had a really good tarot week. Do you ever have a really good tarot week? So I haven't done a ton. I've been doing my daily draws. I've done a couple larger spreads, but I want to talk about the decks that I have been working with this week. So if you are new here to my weekly deck reviews, in this weekly video, I like to share with you the tarot deck and the oracle deck that I've been working with over the past week. I talk about how they read for me, what I thought of them, how they actually, because we can, you know, what I'm trying to say, see if I can get my words out, is that sometimes we get a deck and we can flip through the images and think it's great, and then we go to actually use it and it just doesn't connect, or sometimes it connects, or sometimes it doesn't connect initially and then we use it and it really connects. Sometimes we're meh and then we're blown away. So all of that stuff, I love to talk about that. I want to talk about what I've been working with this week because it's been a good week. So the tarot deck that I have been working, I'm just pulling everything out of my little kit where I've been carrying it all week. The tarot deck that I've been working with this week is the Art of Love tarot deck, which is by Denise, Jarvie, and Toni, Carmine, Salerno. It is a Blue Angel publishing deck. It's not new to the scene at all. Sorry for the glare. It is glossy. When I tell you that I have fallen head over heels with this deck, which I was not expecting. To be completely fair, I got this deck because of the Oracle deck I'd picked up, and I was like, I want the tarot deck by the same artist. I should just start showing images so that you can like look at eye candy at least while I talk. So hopefully are we focused? I think we're focused. I'm just gonna make sure. I might be too close. I think we're good. Okay. Well, I guess I'll find out afterwards. So this deck has been such a stunner to work with. There are keywords on every card, and they kind of go their own way in some places. Instead of cups, pentacles, swords, and wands, we have hearts for the cups. We have angels for the swords. We have trees for the pentacles, and we have stars for the wands. And you know, I don't know what it is with me and angels lately, but I've been really enjoying connecting with that gentle, sort of nurturing energy that angel decks seem to have. And I'm still pretty particular, I have to say. But what stands out to me about this deck is how it's, again, very in your face with, it's angels, and it's very kind of new age, I guess, but it's not, really pushing a particular religion. It's promoting the idea of the love within. And the messages in these cards are very empowering, and they're very like loving and direct. And I don't know, I feel like I've gotten really wonderful. Like, look at the ego collapse. Amazing. Like, what are some other ones? Every time I pulled these cards, I just got fantastic messages from them. 10 of Stars is hoarding. The court cards in here are fantastic. Let me find a couple for you. They just made so much sense. And I have to say, I was super skeptical going in with this deck because Toni, Carmine, Salerno has done a ton of artwork, and there is a ton of artwork repeated through different decks. I have the Gaia Oracle, which is Toni, Carmine, Salerno's art. Here's the King of Stars, which is the King of Wands, is the Alchemist. Now I love Toni, Carmine, Salerno's artwork. There's a quality to it that I just really enjoy looking at, which certainly doesn't hurt. But like the Queen of Angels, which is the Queen of Swords, as the visionary, I just feel like there's a really fresh perspective. Oh, I love this. The King of Trees is the Architect, and the Knight of Trees, which is the Pentacles, is the Custodian. Like, how perfect is this? Anyway, there's animals in the pages. There's the Page of Stars, Curiosity. I really think that Denise, Jarvie did an incredible job going through Toni, Carmine, Salerno's library or catalog of artwork and choosing artwork that would feel cohesive, that would make sense, that would convey the feeling that she was trying to represent. I thoroughly enjoyed working with these. They're beautiful to look at. I think that so much about tarot is connecting to the visual and the tactile experience. And let me talk to you about the tactile experience. I fell in love with this cardstock. I don't know what it was. Like the size of the deck felt perfect. It hand over hand shuffles really, really beautifully. It rifles nicely, although I have pretty strong hands. It is a stiff rifle. So it sounded dirty when I said that, but I don't mean it to be dirty. It's a little bit sturdy of a cardstock, but this feels like it's gonna hold up really well. I loved working with this deck. This has been such a dark horse. I was not expecting to fall in love like I did with this deck, but I loved it. I loved it. Now I will say that I did a couple of readings like for myself, but I did readings that were more about me and my inner journey, and then I did a reading about like a relationship, and I found that it read more it read better for me when I was looking at like inner stuff, like spirituality, my creative process, things like that. I got really fantastic connection, but it felt very self-focused, and that it worked beautifully for. I think this is not necessarily a deck I would reach for more grounded questions. I definitely would reach for this deck for spiritual questions, questions about self-worth, questions about healing, or about relationships. I think this would do a really, really good job, like in general, when I'm looking at it that way. I know I just kind of contradicted myself, and it makes sense in my head, but I'm not sure it made sense out loud. But like, yeah, it's kind of like the difference between an emotional situation and a practical situation. Like I wouldn't read about my relationship with my boss with this deck, but I would do a marriage reading about me and Peggy with this deck. Does that make better sense? I hope so. Okay. So practical versus more emotional, or grounded versus spiritual. I think this definitely leans towards the heart space. Obviously it's the Art of Love tarot, and it definitely leans towards the emotional realm and the spiritual realm for sure. So beautiful deck. I love the colors. I don't mind that it's glossy, besides the fact that it doesn't maybe video as well. It like in person, it just feels kind of luxurious. Yeah, I don't regret buying this deck one little bit. The guidebook for this, I've already talked about this deck for 7 minutes. How? I don't know. But the guidebook is nice and big. I don't know what I was gonna say there. It does come with a bookmark, which I actually appreciated because I would just mark whatever page for the card I was on that day. This deck, by the way, does photograph beautifully if you like to share pictures of your deck. I didn't post any of my daily draws on Instagram, but I do put them on my phone in the background as wallpapers, and oh, it's so stunning. So that was good. The guidebook is really fantastic. What I liked about the guidebook is that you get, for every card, you have sort of the keyword that's already on the card at the very top. So for the Ace of Trees, the keyword is abundance. Sorry for the focus back and forth here for a sec. And you get sort of a quick synopsis. So for abundance, I can talk. It says, a flood of plenty is flowing your way. You are about to experience many different manifestations of the energy you have planted. Then there's a description, and the description does a really good job of tying in sort of the artwork with the meaning of the card, and then you have an actual meaning of the card. So you sort of have, she makes the artwork make sense for the meaning in the description section, and then she talks about the meaning in the meaning section. But they do take a slight step to the left of your traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. They definitely bring a fresh perspective, and it was a really fantastic perspective that it brought. But at the bottom, there is a Rider-Waite correlation with a few basic Rider-Waite-Smith keywords. So you can decide how to link these to yourself or not. But I found that they all made beautiful sense. You can definitely dig beneath the surface of the description included to find that Rider-Waite-Smith seed of meaning. So it all made beautiful sense. But it definitely offered a new perspective, which is one of the things I freaking love about working with different decks, is when they do that, when they give you something new to think about, some way to approach a particular card that you've never thought about before. I almost wanted to work with this for another week in a row, and if I didn't have some new things to dig into, I probably would have. This will definitely be coming out to play pretty regularly in my practice, and this is an excellent one for client work simply because it is so comforting. The images are so calming and comforting to look at that I couldn't see not using this for clients. So really, really enjoyed, in case you couldn't tell. It's definitely one of my favorites for the month. So I actually got that deck because I had picked up the Ask an Angel Oracle deck. Let me grab the actual cards. This is a reprint of a Blue Angel deck. So the cardstock, the deck has been reissued in a matte cardstock and they are borderless. I don't know if this is a new direction that Blue Angel is going, but this edition of this deck was printed in 2019. And the deck itself was, I think, originally released, let's see, originally released in 2006 was the first edition of this deck, and now it's been re-released in matte cardstock, borderless. I was a little concerned, let me show you some images here. I was a little concerned that it would look a little funky next to the gloss in the Art of Love, but it didn't at all. And these images are so luscious. If the Art of Love was reprinted in matte, I would buy that too. Not that I mind the gloss too much, I don't, but I could stare at this artwork all day. And what's interesting is that there are some repeated images. I might have mentioned this last week. There are some repeated images between the tarot and the oracle. There's repeated images from the oracle to my other Toni, Carmine, Salerno oracle. But interestingly, in this deck anyway, the repeated artwork that could come up still seems to tie in. I think I showed an example last week, but you can see the meaning of the oracle and you can also see the meaning in the tarot. So it didn't feel disjointed to me, and I really thought that was going to bug me. I think what amazes me about this, just a little side note before I talk specifically about this deck, but what amazes me about my enjoyment of these decks is that in every other case, as far as I know, when I have worked with artwork that was created not to represent a specific meaning, but was just created and then a meaning for an oracle deck was applied after, I feel like in most of those cases I do not connect with those decks, but this is different and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just how much I like the artwork. I don't know. But what I liked about this deck, it is an angel themed deck, but again, just like the Art of Love Tarot, it's looking at the angels in a very sort of general kind of way. At least that's how it feels to me. Now this one has an angel name on the bottom of each one, which is one of the reasons I got this. I wanted to learn more about the archangels and the other angels that are represented in this deck. The guidebook definitely delivers on that front. So you have in the back, and I use this section every single day, there is a section by Martine Salerno, I might have mentioned this last week, talking about communicating with the angels, and there's just a little bit about every angel that you'll find in this deck. So what I really enjoyed doing was pulling the card. So this was one of my cards this week. Dokil for balance. And then I would look Dokil up in the guidebook. Just a bit about Dokil first. I'm probably saying that wrong, I'm sorry. And it says the angel of balance is known as the weighing angel. In the Testament of Abraham, it is stated that Dokil is the angel who is like the sun, holding the balance in his hand, and is also equated with the Egyptian god Anubis, the guardian of the scales. So whenever there's a need for balance in our lives, the angel Dokil can provide assistance. But then, so I'd read that, and then I would go look up the balance entry, and I would dive into the actual message of the card. Oh, I didn't go far enough, there we go. So you get like about a full page when you take the photo out, right? So you've got the photo, and then you've got a page and a half. But I got fantastic messages from this deck, and I enjoyed the learning process as well. So I will definitely not hesitate to pair this up with the Art of Love Tarot in the future. I would also not hesitate to pair this up with my Guardian Angel Tarot by Doreen, well, this is by Radleigh Valentine now. It used to be a Doreen Virtue and Radleigh Valentine deck, but I really enjoyed working with this. It did not steal my heart exactly the same way that the Art of Love Tarot did, but I really enjoyed working with it. And I have continued to work with my runes, which I've been talking about. These are staying in my practice. I've been really enjoying the way that they echo the meanings of the cards. I've had some really cool synchronicities come up where I'll pull my two cards, I'll focus on those cards, I'll sort of play with the bag, mix up the runes, draw one, pull it out, and it's like the message is in line with what I've pulled for Tarot and Oracle, which is super fun. I've been using these primarily to look up the meanings. These are my rune learning cards. And I've talked about these in a couple videos now, so I'm not going to go on and on, but this is what I keep with my other cards I'm working with to look up rune meanings. So very successful, fun tarot week. This is the reading cloth I've been using. It's my cute little patchwork owl, although I completely ignored this side all week, and I just used this really rich kind of wine red color. Look at the way it made my skin pale. I love the color correction on this camera. Anyway, I really enjoyed working with this behind those cards. It just made for a stunning backdrop to Toni Carmine's artwork. I really enjoyed it. I'm almost a little hesitant to put it away, but I will, because I like to rotate my reading cloths and justify my collection of them, because that's how I roll. So this week I am going to be working with the Stretch Tarot. I don't have the box, so I forget the artist's name. I'm sorry, but I'll probably put it in the description box down below. The Stretch Tarot this is what the backs look like. And this is like a kind of vintagey collage deck, and there are keywords on the cards. I think they might still be in order. Are they still in order? Yeah, they are. So I won't go through all of them. But I really freaking love this female magician. Actually, I think there's a male magician too. Yeah, there is. So I'm going to be pulling him out of the deck and working with her because I just think she's badass. I like her. I think that's the only extra card. I may have to flip through and just check. I'm going to skip some so you can see some other cards. I'm excited to work with this. This is like nice kind of make playing cards. No, it's probably, I don't know, 320, 330 maybe? Probably 330. It feels nice. It's like a satin finish cardstock. Looking forward to shuffling this. But yeah, it's kind of got this fun vintage look. I have picked an oracle deck to work beside it, not for aesthetics, but just because it's another new deck to my collection. And so I want to work with them both and decide what I'll pair them with in the future, but they're both new and I want to get to know them. So I'll be working with this tarot deck, the Stretch Tarot, and the oracle deck I'm going to be working with is Benebell's Bone Script Divination deck. Now, the deal with this is that, sorry, Chinese Oracle Script divination cards. So I ordered the guidebook through Lulu. It was really inexpensive, and I ordered the deck from the link that Benebell provides on her website through makeplayingcards.com. This was also really inexpensive, and you can choose your backs. I chose these backs. This is what this deck looks like on the front. And I played with it a little bit when I first got it, just doing some pulls against some questions, and it was like really cool. So I'm looking forward to working with this one this week. I'm just kind of seeing how it is to play with it. In the future, I will probably be pairing this with my Spirit Keepers Tarot to use, but I really just want to get to know it. This is a deck that Benebell does offer up if you want to print your own copy for free. So if you go to her website, which I will try to remember to link down below, you can find the links, find the files. She makes everything available so you can print this for yourself at home if you want to, or you can order copies of the printed cards through Make Playing Cards. She makes like a couple of dollars, I think, maybe per deck. And you can also order the formatted printed guidebook, but you can also print all this stuff off for free if you just want to play around with it. But I am really excited to work with this, and look at the gorgeous Peggy bag I have for this. It's like fishy. Look at that. It's like metallic and glowy and gorgeous. So, and it makes me think of abundance. Fish for abundance. So pretty. And it holds, this is a small bag, but it holds the oracle deck perfect because the oracle deck's a little bit on the, even though it's a larger card, they're a little bit thin. So yeah, it goes in there perfectly. So that's what I'm going to work with this week, along with my runes. And I'm going to be working with an old favorite, my silk reading cloth. This is one of the first ones Peggy ever made me. It's a piece of really, really nice silk backed onto a piece of black velvet. I have no idea. I'll probably end up just using the black velvet side, which is what I do a lot, but I still like the smoky, silky side. So that is it for this week's weekly deck reviews. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I would love to hear, I'm sorry I'm itching my nose, I can't help it. I would love to hear what you are working with this week or this month, if you've been surprised by any decks, and or what you think about any of the decks I've talked about today. I look forward to talking to you guys soon, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye!